Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today's video is going to be a Q&A. On my Instagram, I asked you to ask me some questions about my latest outfit drawing, and I'll try to answer these in this video. This is not a tutorial, and so it's not for it's not for beginners. You'll have to understand a bit about the programs I use. But yeah, I hope it helps. So, Art by Isla Awesome asks, how do you film yourself digitally while you're doing your art? To capture my screen, I use boadcaster, which is a pretty easy to learn program. I really like it, and I can link it under this. I'll link it under this video. Next, Aurora DHK. What do you use for digital art? And I'll carry on with the next questions because they all belong together. G Zapata, how long did this one take? What program? And did you sketch it out in paper first or jump right in? Immortal Sin Envy, do you tend to sketch before drawing? So yes, well, I use Photoshop. I use also Manga Studio, but Photoshop is the program I feel safest in because I've been using it for over 10 years. So yeah, I didn't have a sketch in this case. I usually do sketch. I like sketching a lot with lines, but in this case I wanted to sketch shapes. So I had a reference of myself, and I tried to find just to lay out to block in the different shapes of like the face, the hair, and I like this way of working, and I think it won't be the last time I do it like this way. So I don't do it often this way, but I like working like this. And this image didn't take that long. It took me 1.5 hours, which for me is pretty quick, and I think that's due to not having a sketch, because line sketch, because that makes things sometimes in a way a bit trickier, because then to find the right shape which goes well with the drawing, I don't know, sometimes it can be counterproductive in this case anyway. But yeah, usually I do sketch before painting. Okay, next, Illustration by CM asks, what brush are you using for the flat colors, or just in general for this piece? And Litsta, awesome. What program do you use? What brush settings? I love this chalky look. So these are the brushes I used for this video. The first one I created myself. No brush expert here, but it happened by accident, and that was a couple of years ago, and I've been using it ever since, because I like how you can work fine. I use it for hard shapes and lines. You can work very finely, and also for blocking in is also very good. I don't know, it's got a good shape. I also use it for foliage, not in this video, but generally it's a nice foliage brush. Yeah, so the number 2 is just the chalky, the standard chalk. I think it might be a custom brush, but I'm not sure. But I like this one for lines with a bit of texture as well, hard lines with a bit of texture. Number 3 I used for the hair. It's a bit strandy, and also all the textures in this give it a bit this chalkiness. So also the next one, this is one I use for blending a bit, but with some texture. And the last one is just for very smooth and soft blending. It has really nice effects, I think. Yeah, so I will put these brushes in my Dropbox, and you can download them. They will be under the video as well. So Vero Jazzy asks, in general, you put everything on different layers? Well, for this kind of work, I think it's good to have a lot of have a lot of stuff on different layers, but always be cautious. I always want you to be cautious with too many layers, because it can get overwhelming. So if you do use a lot of layers, try to get them organized in a way. But what I did is, like, for each material I like to have an own layer, and sometimes even two, because like for the hair I used one layer for the part of the hair which is in the front, like the fringe and the braid, and the part which goes behind her neck and the scarf had a different layer, for example. Or like the jacket is in two layers, the front part and the back part, which is then behind the boobs and everything, so I didn't have to paint around everything. So always when you feel like you would have to paint around something, just use a different layer for under it. It doesn't have to be a different material, as long as the shapes are far enough apart. That's totally okay as well. But sometimes it can be better to have them on different layers. I mean, it always depends. It depends on your workflow. Okay. Oh yeah, right. And when I have my shapes on my different layers, then I use clipping masks, and on top, with new layers on top, and clipping masks, which I paint inside. So this helps me to stay inside the shapes and not have to, yeah, keep that in track of that. Okay, next. Okay, art by K. How do you exactly know what to shade lighter or darker? And Indu 128, how do you choose the right color? I go crazy trying to choose the right colors, especially when drawing from reference. So yeah, I think these are fairly tricky questions in a way that it's such a huge field, and I'd recommend basically to watch some tutorials on color theory. I've been doing that recently as well, and it helped me a lot. I will link a couple of the videos I like under this video. But just how I worked on this from my base color, which I wanted to darken or lighten. When I wanted, in the case of the hair, when I wanted to darken it, I picked a color a bit darker, a bit more saturated, and a bit bluer. So I always go to either warmer or colder from that color, a little bit, not much, but the slight change always makes it more interesting, and it makes it feel right usually. Yeah, so, and when choosing colors from reference, I think it's just a way of you have to practice it. I was really bad at this, because I know when I first had a reference and I say, okay, this grass is green, and I tried to pick the right green. That's so hard, and it's just, you need to school your eyes to seeing the right color. So really try to pick it. Don't use the eyedrop tool. Just do the painting, sort of just always looking at your reference, trying to find the right color, and you'll get better at it. And my stuff tends to be a bit too desaturated when I do that, but that doesn't matter. You can always bump it up a bit at the end. So it's just such a good practice. Yeah, it's good to practice that. Okay, Anton Dickey. Do you have blending mode preference while coloring? Yeah, I don't always use blending modes. I try to sometimes use them, sometimes to try to pick the right colors from the start, because I think it's important to be able to do that. But for a quick illustration, I often do that. And I think it's totally legitimate to use these. I like color burn, which is you have to use a gray color on top of your colors, and then set it to color burn, and then the effect will be similar to this what I use on this image. Like the color will deepen and darken, and sort of, I don't know if it changes hue as well, but I like that effect. Anyway, it always looks, if you use color burn, you see, okay, this image has this style. And same with, I use also multiply at some point. It always depends on what I want to get. So yeah, and in order to to lighten colors, I like soft light because it's a bit the effect is a bit more muted than like in case of overlay, which always comes out too bright. I'm not a fan of that. It's just a preference. Yeah. So next, artist Chase5 asks, what about drawing makes it fun? For me, I just love the sketching part. I don't think I have that kind of preference. I just really, it depends on the drawing which part I enjoy. Sometimes I want to try out brushes, so it's just playing around with those. Then I often like the sketching part as well because all the life goes into it. But sometimes I'm impatient with the sketch, and I just want to get to refining it, and that's really bad to be to be impatient with a sketch because that's your base. So do that. But that happens to me. It happened yesterday. It was horrible. But yeah, I also enjoy finishing things up, trying and shading. It always depends, and it depends on the mood and on what I'm drawing. Maybe sometimes it's like with there's often a part about a drawing which can become a bit tedious, which is just work, but I usually don't mind because I listen to audiobooks or whatever through these parts. So when there's a part which is a bit tedious, I enjoy the simplicity of that as well. So I think, no, there's one more. Hakim Ree asks, how did you utilize social media to promote your art and gain followers? Well, I didn't set out to. I think, but what I do is I post regularly, and basically I was using Instagram to motivate myself to draw a lot, because I think it's very important to have a routine in drawing, because when you draw with a routine, the drawings, you first come into the kind of flow, and when you're in this flow, the drawings are nicer, and it takes a lot of routine to get to this point. So yeah, I wanted to keep that up. I wanted to speed up my sketching, and with that I posted a lot, and I was pretty amazed at that people weren't getting bored of my sketches, because I was really posting a lot. I had my hashtag, which was sketch every day, which actually stressed me quite a lot, because when I didn't sketch really every day, I felt bad about putting it under the image. So I changed it to sketch nearly every day, and that's a good hashtag, because it really is that. Since then I'm a bit looser about it, because it doesn't make sense to just to be too hard on yourself, but sketching regularly is really important. So yeah, that's one thing. I don't know why it's important, but it seems to be important to post regularly. And then of course I know which images get the most likes. For instance, the outfit drawings get a lot, and also the draw me schmoes get a lot. And I try not to care too much about this, because I would feel like a sellout if I would only do these drawings because of the likes. I mean, of course, I would like to. I like seeing people liking my art, but it's not about that. It's about actually drawing. So I always, when I feel like doing those, I do them, and I'm probably more happy when I get a lot of likes on an image where I didn't think that people would like it that much. So because I always like to experiment and try some stuff new, try new stuff. So maybe also it's the balance. I don't know. I didn't It's not a science. I just try it, do what I do, and I'm really happy about how many followers I got over the last year. It's amazing, and thank you guys. So yeah, but I would say just don't give too much on that. I think just posting regularly, do what you want to do. Keep true to yourself, and then that should work out. Yeah, so thank you for listening, watching. Bye bye. I hope you liked it.